Welcome back into CBS Sports HQ alongside Damien Harris, Brad Crawford. I'm Emily Proud, and we have all been waiting for this moment. Brad Brackets brings us his projected college football playoff bracket. Friend, you have the floor. Walk us through.
So I think the top four is pretty much chalk. Ohio State as the Big Ten champion, likely #1 seed. You've got Indiana 3 as the runner-up. Texas A&M is my new SEC projected champion. Alabama runner-up there. So those 4 teams get the byes. Then we start getting into some at-large mixes. I think North Texas is going to win the American, mentioned that last segment, as the G5 champion. The matchup that I'm looking forward to, potentially in the first round, is a 10th seeded Texas at Big 12 champion Texas Tech, with the winner going to Kyle Field and College Station to play the Aggies. The Lone Star State, man, that would feed families if that happened. Just crazy scenario there. And I'm very interested to see if the selection committee would actually let that happen.
Yeah, a little Texas State Championship there. That would be interesting. Also, you got North Texas in there, so some good Lone Star State representation. Brad, it seems like just every time we make a bracket, we put the Buckeyes at #1, but there were some rumblings after that initial college football playoff ranking that there might be a case for a Texas A&M or an Indiana to be #1. How much consideration did you put in when thinking who should be the #1 team?
Yeah, for me, I think if Texas A&M wins the SEC as an unbeaten team, I do in fact think Mike Elko's team would be that top seed in the playoff, because A&M's resume this season, including 3 wins against teams that are currently in the AP poll on the road, by the way, is just better than what Ohio State has. You see some of the strength of schedule, record strength there, win-out percentage. It's unlikely A&M finishes 13-0 because they've got to play at Texas and during rivalry weekend. That's where I think the first slip up comes. But no need to worry, Aggies fans. You're going to be in the SEC championship game. If you beat Alabama in that game, you're guaranteed a top 4 spot as the league champion.
Well, see, Brad, you said something right there. You said, Aggies fans, if you beat Alabama. Now, you have Texas A&M as your projected SEC champion, and they're the only team from the SEC that you would even consider putting at the #1 spot. And this isn't to argue. With the growth I've seen from this Alabama team, how well Ty Simpson is playing right now, the receiving core, they're running the ball defensively. What gives the Aggies the edge over the Crimson Tide, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think game control is a big metric that this committee is going to look at. Alabama, while it has beaten 4 or 5 ranked teams, a lot of those games, Damien, have been one-possession games in the fourth quarter. Texas A&M, they've played with their food a bit too, but they've beaten Notre Dame on the road. And you see right there, Alabama's resume, according to Sportsline, they've beaten some really good teams. 9th in strength of schedule right now. The best win was obviously in Athens against Georgia. That's going to be a playoff team. But that loss to Florida State in the opener, Florida State likely not going to bowl season. If A&M and Alabama both have 1 loss getting to Atlanta, I just feel that the winner of that game at best would probably be the 2 seed. If Ohio State finishes unbeaten and A&M finishes unbeaten, then that final deliberation inside that room in Grapevine, Texas, with that committee is going to be very, very interesting. Which one of those unbeaten Titans get that #1 seed?
Yeah, because we're shaping up to have Ohio State and Indiana battle it out in the Big Ten championship game. So for people saying that those conference championship games don't mean as much anymore, get ready to see what we've got in the Big Ten and the SEC. You mentioned Notre Dame. If it comes down to a 10-2 Miami and a 10-2 Notre Dame, I don't mean to sound like a hater here, Brad, but how do we get the Irish out of this bracket, even if they win out?
Look, I'm sorry, but even though Notre Dame has that loss to Miami in the season opener, we saw last week, Emily, what the selection committee feels about this Canes team versus the Irish. Head-to-head only comes into play if all other scenarios are even, and the committee just does not see Notre Dame and Miami on the same pedestal right now. Miami has not looked good 2 of these last 4 weeks. Notre Dame's clicking right now. Jeremiah Love has sort of inserted his name at the back end of that Heisman campaign, and I just feel that if Notre Dame wins out, looked pretty darn good yesterday against Navy, by the way. If they win out, finish 10-2, that would be an 8-game winning streak to end the year. And you're going to have a team like maybe Vanderbilt that's fighting for that last spot with Notre Dame, not Miami. I think the committee's already spoke on Miami. They can finish 10-2, they're not getting in.
Emily, can I just As somebody who's been in this position that you're in before, let me just advise you of something.
Yes.
Don't get on the Notre Dame's fan base's bad side. Your mentions are going to be in shambles. I'm talking like days and
I am
months
here to
later.
speak on behalf of the fans, and there are a lot of fans out there that are wondering. How is this possible? But like Brad said, it's not necessarily what he thinks, what you think, what I think. The committee told us everything we need to know.
You want to know how? It's touchdown Jesus. It's Notre Dame. Come on, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
They create their schedule. They will never not be independent until somebody forces them to become a part of a conference. But Emily, this is what they do.
Yeah.
This is what they do. Like Pete Prisco, he loves to say, you are what you are. Notre Dame is a team, they're going to lose some games. They're going to get in the college football playoffs. You are what you are. I hate to say it.
So I am circling the Pitt Panthers right now to come in. They got to lose is what I'm hearing from Brad in order to get them out of this bracket. Brad, our friends at FanDuel have taken down Ohio State, Indiana, and A&M's odds to make the college football playoff, essentially saying that they are a guarantee. If we're looking at this bracket right now, how many teams do you believe are locks right now for the CFP?
I think at least those three. I mean, Alabama would need to lose to Auburn, probably lose to A&M, and even a three-loss Bama team with this resume likely gets in one of those last spots at large. I think we're pretty much vying for maybe 5 spots here, maybe 4. Big 12 champion's going to get in. The ACC champion, I know it's not looked good these last few weeks, but I do feel the highest ranked team from the ACC right now, that's Georgia Tech in my opinion, they're going to get in. So essentially you're voting, you're trying to get in one of those last 4 to 5 spots. So there's still some teams that play out their destiny right now. Notre Dame, like I said, if the Irish finish as an independent with 10-2 record, they're going to get in the playoff. Might not have a first-round home game like they had last season against Indiana, but Marcus Freeman's team will get back to that 12-team bracket. And to be honest, that's the ultimate goal this season.
I would agree. Notre Dame is a lock. I mean, they just are Emily proud.
Yeah.
They are a lock at this point. I do anticipate they beat Pitt. I don't think that they lose another game this season. We've said this from the jump. Since they started 0-2, if they win 10 straight, they're going to be in the playoffs. They're a lock. And then I look at the top 3, Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M. As much as I would love to throw my alma mater in there, they've still got a tough game against a tough Oklahoma team that beat them last year. So when you look at Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M. I mean, Texas A&M is going to play for a conference championship. More than likely, Ohio State, Indiana are going to play against each other. None of them will be punished based on the outcome of that conference championship game. Those 3 teams in Notre Dame, they're in.
Would you consider Ole Miss a lock? They've got Florida and Mississippi State to close out the season.
Well,
you talk about believing in Notre Dame.
Yeah, if they handle their business, which as much as I love Lane Kiffin, as much of a believer as I am in him, one thing I know about Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin to be true is they are front runners. If you punch them in the mouth to start the game, you got a chance. So Mississippi State, Florida, I mean, you're going to have a chance if you can jump on them early. But if they take care of that business, Lane Kiffin, he's going to be in the college football playoff. And then those blank checkbooks that are just waiting for him, they might just start to add a couple numbers, 0 here, but Ole Miss will be in if they take care of business these last 2 weeks.
Yeah, there is one scenario in which I think Ole Miss could afford a loss in one of these last 2 games, finish 10-2 and still get in. If Tulane wins the American and gets the G5's auto bid, Ole Miss has a win over Tulane this season. That's going to beef in that resume, which right now the committee obviously has showed us how much they respect Ole Miss. Just waxed Citadel, had no issues beating South Carolina, and then had that win over LSU, which is kind of their signature right now outside of that victory at Oklahoma. So I don't think Lane Kiffin's going to stub his toe over these last 2 games like what happened last season in Gainesville. I think Ole Miss is an 11-1 lock. Might not get to Atlanta, but it doesn't matter. Ole Miss will be in the first round home game.
Yeah, I'm glad you said despite what happened last year, because I feel worried going ahead and locking up Ole Miss, because I think we had similar discussion this time last year, and we saw what they did down the stretch. Yeah, hand up. I believed it as well, but that's why you got to play the games. Another reminder of how Brad Crawford sees the current college football playoff bracket after we got some more information yesterday for Week 11. 5 SEC teams are in, 3 from the Big Ten. 2 of them get byes, though, so very top-heavy Big Ten. And just 1 bid for the ACC, the Big 12, and the G5.